Is that we'll come to that in just a moment. We'll take a break at this point and be back with the kickoff. And away New South Wales go, and that's from left to right. And that interesting bit of news I was about to tell you before the commercial break was that in the under-18s, New South Wales and Queensland, New South Wales won 20 points to 11. And a youngster by the name of Petherbridge, who's Rob Petherbridge, I believe his name is, and he's the younger brother of Gary Petherbridge, who played formerly for New South Wales, scored 3 tries, and he's a Balmain junior, so that'll be good news for the Balmain club. All right, Mortimer to feed this first scrum of the match. The referee doing what to me is a pain in the rear end, having to instruct the players on the field. That should all be done before they take their place. His hands in the ruck. First penalty to Queensland. Craig Young was the player using the hand. There's no argument about that. That was quite clear. Craig Young did what any red-blooded prop would do if the ball's put in up around his arm. He tried to use his arm to hook with. That's a good kick up to the quarter. Now let's see what Queensland can do early. There's an expectation of a bit of fire in this game. Arthur Bleetson, when I interviewed him for the news earlier today, was a little bit non-committal about the lack of vigour by the Queenslanders in the opening game. Very experienced side, Barry Ross, Queensland.
Yes, there's more interstate appearances here by this Queensland team in total than there is with the New South Wales side. Players like Norm Carr with 14 appearances, Brad Backer with 12. They've had a lot of experience in big football, although Steve Rogers, making his 18th game for New South Wales tonight, is the most experienced player on the field.
All right, Dowling to his feet. Carr, Murray, Lewis, and Graham Quinn gets his first touch of the ball. A very late replacement. We travelled up on the plane with him, as a matter of fact, and he was telling us that he got a hell of a shock when the New South Wales Rugby League got in touch with him about 8 o'clock this morning. Penalty inside the 5. Mr. Garmasol very deliberate in his signals there, indicating there are any number of New South Welshmen offside. Now the goal kicker is Colin Scott, the fullback. This kick's going to be from about 3 yards outside the quarter, and he is, I suspect, about 8 yards off centre. Almost nil wind conditions, as Barry's told you. And there's the Queensland goal kicker Colin Scott's stat. He's had 33 from 49 successful attempts, which is a very commendable success ratio of 67%.
He's quite a good goal kicker in Brisbane football too. He did very well last year and also this year, high up on the individual point scoring list, and only last Sunday, 2 days ago, kicked 4 out of 4 for his club, Wynnum Manly.
Well, this is an important one. Crowd buzzing. Well, that's a dismal failure. Bretnell has the ball, manages to get back into the field of play. Indeed, he breaks the line and loads for Rogers, who's put down straight away. And New South Wales trying to clear that ball away from their line at the moment. They're out to the quarter. Making a powerful long time to get off was Rod Morris. Bretnell. Nearly dropped that and did marvellously well to recover. He's wrapped up, and that's a net loss of 10 yards. Now let's see who takes over the kicking duties. There's a penalty against Queensland for failing to get off the tackle player. Now Brentnell wiping the ball on Krilich's back here. And we had rain this afternoon in Queensland, not heavy, about 5:30. It came down for about half an hour, lightly, but persistently. Now Queensland defending. New South Wales in possession. Midway between their quarter and halfway. Village, Craig Young knocked over straight away. A little punch went in there. That was from McCabe. One New South Walesman to another. Muggleton. Pretty well to hold that pass. Well, there's no way there. Much too shallow. It's Rampling trying to come on the burst, but he came too soon. Krillage now back to Britnell. It's an end-over-end sort of a kick. It's rolling back into the quarter. Still going. Back towards the end goal. Scott has it now. Thompson's there. Muggleton's there. The dive of Muggleton is not successful. Queensland lose the ball. It's a desperate place to lose it. Out it comes to Izzard. Now out then to Tony Melrose. He beats one man. Not a winger in pace. Very clever player. Izzard. Mortimer. Craig Young on the boil. 10 yards out from Queensland's line. Graham Quidge sprints back to position for Queensland. Mortimer. There's Muggleton trying himself at the defence, but no net gain. Village. Nice pass there to Coveney. Village. Mortimer. The bomb. It's too long. By 15 yards. That was way out. The crowd loved that. Quick to react to a New South Wales mistake. Now that was a pretty low calibre kick, let me tell you. Izzard with a strong smothering tackle, playing his first full interstate game. After only about, Barry, 8 first-grade games?
Yes, he was going to be happy if he got some reserve-grade games with Penrith this year, but he started the season very well and became a permanent fixture with the Penrith side, and now this.
Yes, he's in the big time now. Queensland still moving the ball well. Khan back on the inside. I think that was to Scott. Fullback chiming in, and that's 6 to go. Rampling, I fear, touched that ball. Lewis. There's Ray Price right round his boots. Dowling has a run. Swinging right arm from a New South Wales player, Ray Price too. It surged over the head. Murray did well to take that. Rebo figuring midfield. It's midway between the Queensland quarter and halfway. No score in this match. We've had 8 minutes of play. Oh, there's a terrible knock on. Melrose scoops it up beautifully on the run. New South Wales in possession. About 38 metres out. Muggleton got a bad pass away and puts Mortimer under pressure, but he dives on it. Village, Craig Young. That pass knocked down. Gowland has it. Came off his knee, says the referee. Not a knock on. I doubt that. Can't. Long pass and a good one. Oh, the pass has been spilled. It's picked up by Rampling. Paul McCabe putting that down out there wide. Mortimer. Bretnell chiming in. Hits the line hard. Mortimer waving to his backs. Craig Young up the middle there, coming close, very close to the ruck half. Village, Mortimer cuts out a man. Thompson, Price quickly to Melrose. He hasn't got the pace to get round Rebo, but he does well and is tackled into touch. Well, Melrose surprised me with his speed then. I didn't think he'd get round Rebo, but he did, and I thought he'd have been tackled head-on. There's the Dowling stat. And that's 170 from 293. Dowling has won this year. Success rate of 58.0%. And that's another one to him. Carr. Lewis, McCabe to the quarter line. Dowling. Oh, there's a bad handling error there. I think the referee will rule knock on. They've regathered, but the Queensland handling letting them down badly. Just how moist was that field when you walked on it, Barry?
It's quite heavy, Rex. I think you can see occasionally the mush come up as the players run it, and I think most of them are very wet now, and obviously the ball quite wet too.
Penalty against New South Wales for failing to pack square on. (3-1) the penalties, 1-0 the scrums, both in Queensland's favour. Hancock winding up and coming straight and hard. Dowling on the runaround. Recollecting then that I told you that Vaughton was a very late change, almost as the teams were in the dressing room prepared to come out. Quinn coming around Gene Miles, getting the pass on the runaround. Rebo. Vaughton's been omitted from the side. He's the reserve. Morris, the very experienced prop, is in. It's over the sideline on the full, on the ricochet. Into one of our ground cameras. And Murray to feed. Thompson. Steve Rogers evades one man. Slipped. And he's well served with a good tackle there from Carr. Price, Mortimer, Brentnell, probing all the time. Brentnell between the 5'8" and centre, between the centre and wing, occasionally between the forward and the first man receiving a ruck. He comes in anywhere. Village, Coveney. We've had 12 minutes of play. There's still no score in the match. Thompson, Brentnell, nicely to Rogers. He's wrapped up straight away. McCabe standing very wide on both sides of the ruck. Mortimer, nice pass out to Milrose. He's round his man. Looks for a pass on the inside. It's forward. And I think the referee was right in that decision. He was directly in line with it. The pass back inside was the one. See it again. Mortimer acknowledges the referee there, shakes his head. Now Milrose gets round his man. This was the pass. Yes, that to me was and that one too from Mortimer back to the support limping on the outside. Both passes were forward. Queensland in possession. Rebo. Don't forget our world title fight on Channel 7 around the network on Saturday morning. We're very excited about it. That's the world title heavyweight fight between the champion Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney, the Great White Hope they call him. And that takes place at 11 a.m. Saturday around the 7 network. And you'd be ill-advised to miss it. They are billing it as the fight of the century from Las Vegas, Nevada. Queensland on the move. Good pass there out to Rebo. Mortimer comes at him and takes him in a copybook tackle. That's a great tackle round the legs. He plays it forward and he's been tackled by Mortimer. And Rebo and Mortimer have a little chat in that tackle. That was a great tackle. While we see the kick and goal, see the tackle again. Izzard, you see, and Mortimer, a classic tackle for a little man. I think he probably wishes he tried to do it that low on Meninga last week. Incidentally, for Channel 7 viewers in Sydney, should you not be able to see the title fight live by satellite at 11 a.m. next Saturday morning between Holmes and Cooney, You may be able to see a replay at 10:25 p.m. on Saturday night. That's for Channel 7 viewers exclusively. In Sydney, paying $600 a seat at Las Vegas. And should you wish to watch it in your home, were you an American, it would cost you $15 per household on cable pay television.
So Jerry Cooney, Rex, they say that he's got a punch harder than any heavyweight since Marciano.
Well, he's going to need it because Larry Holmes is a very efficient champion. Right, Scott, 5 yards in from the sideline, a yard out. Oh, my God, I have never seen a worse kick. That is the all-time low kick in rugby league in 35 years of watching and playing. It barely travelled 5 yards. One can assume his confidence is in rags.
Yes, and as I said earlier, I was giving him a bit of a rap, but he has been a very high-scoring goal kicker in Brisbane football.
Well, he takes that beautifully, and the crowd give him a roar. Pumping his confidence up again. Well, none from two, and the first one a very easy miss. Now, that second one was no easy kick, but my heaven, what an awful effort it was. Melrose will be taking the kicks for New South Wales. Paul Kahn standing very wide for a prop forward. Murray, Dowling, good swift passing at the rebound. A punch thrown there. Thompson and Lewis having a little bit of an altercation. Dowling tries to go the blind side. It's the last tackle. Still no score in this match. We've had 17 minutes. As Rebo goes round one tackle and finally belted to the ground. Well, Alan Thompson and Wally Lewis are paying a fair bit of attention to each other, both vying, one would think, for a test spot.
Well, Thompson will take no notice. You may remember last year, Rex, when Wally Lewis got stuck in a young Terry Lamb, who was a late replacement for Patterson from South Sydney.
Well, Mortimer was defeated in that tackle. Murray went round. 6 to go. Lewis up to Gene Miles. Straightens, goes nicely. Can't get a support. Muggleton was underneath. Izzard over the top. McCabe. Good strong play from Lewis. Only 9 yards out from New South Wales line now. Quinn. There's Rod Morris turning it back on the inside to McCabe. Pounding away at the line. That's 8 yards out. Dowling switches the play to Morris. Playing at number 14, former Balmain and Australian Test prop. Looks a bit bigger than the last time I saw him. Lewis puts up a kick. Red goal, loses it. It's offside. It's the right decision. That's the right decision. Craig Young fell on the ball in an offside position. See it again. Won't get any argument from me. Brentmore flew high. He was unable to hold the ball. There he goes. Now. And Craig Young in front of him fell in an offside position. Now then. Scott, if he misses this, I would suggest would run straight out of the arena and get a train back to wherever he comes from.
Well, he's playing with the Winner Manly Club in Brisbane, but he comes from a long, long way away. That's Townsville.
Is there a late train to Townsville?
Well, he would hope there would be if he misses this kick.
I hope he doesn't. He's a nice fellow. That last kick was the lowest kick I've ever seen. Oh, off a 4-yard run. There, you can throw this over. Goal, says the electronic scoreboard. Queensland 2, New South Wales 0. And first blood to the Maroons. Colin Scott, 1 from 3. Melrose kicking off. That's Scott again. Well tackled by Muggleton. Dowling. Coveney there to put him away with Thompson. McCabe. Murray, little pirouette. Dowling again. Graham Quinn. Izzard, the tackler. Dowling. Murray. Lewis. Khan. And Miles. Carr from dummy half, and that's the 6. And that puts it about 8 yards from halfway, Queensland side. There's another scrum into Queensland. Well, look at these statistics. The scrums are 3-1 Queensland way. The penalties are 6-1 Queensland's way. Plenty of possession.
Yes, and there was a bit of talk up here during the last week that Steve Mortimer helped Max Phillips last week win all the ball. Well, Mark Murray is certainly helping his hooker tonight with the feeds. That last one was a bit dodgy.
Okay, the error situation. Queensland 4, New South Wales 2. That's the number of times each side has given the ball back to the opposition. We've had 21 minutes of play. Lewis driving that ball low and hard, and a gain of about 23 or 4 yards. Scrum now midway between the New South Wales quarter and halfway. New South Wales ball. Bretnell picked off in no uncertain terms. Wade Price. They put him away very smartly. Carr's the man. Izzard. Strong young man. Bulldozers about 6 yards. Bretnell. There's a towering torpedo punt. Has Scott running backwards. Second, third bounce. Thompson's there. It's a good tackle from Thompson. With an assist by Ziggy Nescott. Dowling. Graham Quinn trying to stand in that tackle, but was belted down very smartly by Price. Lewis. There's a torpedo kick. Looks a beauty. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Obviously, the Queensland tactics are not to play football in their own quarter. Dowling's got his head popped up out of that scrum. He's in now. There's a penalty. He's got privilege for feet across. Seven-1 the penalties in favour of Queensland. Mr. Barry Gomersall from Mackay making a definite impression on the opening 20 minutes. Right, rebound. Lewis, long floater, it's gone to ground, picked up by Murray. Evades one tackle. Izzard puts him away. Dowling. Genghis Khan, they call him. Former Cronulla prop forward. Dowling. Murray. Lewis. Back to Murray. Ryan Hancock. Up to the quarter line. Dowling. Murray. Lewis. McCabe standing wide. Well tackled right round the boots by Craig Young. Graham Quinn. Murray. Pops a pass up to Khan. Back inside the Dowling. Dowling nearly through the gap. Gets it away. Get it Miles. Miles sprinting to the line. It'll be a try. Well, Dowling popped it up for him and he took Bretnell over the line with him. And that's a good try. What a forceful run from Miles. Here's the replay of it. Khan, there Dowling. Now Gene Miles accelerated rapidly. And look at the contact as he hits Bretnell. Tries to hold him steady and push him back. No way. Head on. That surge onto Bretnell's tackle will be more exemplified from this head-on shot. Good work, Khan. Dowling, good play. Miles, the quick acceleration. Came inside Melrose. The sparing dive from Rampling. Bretnell just belted backwards, and there's the try. Good one. And we have a change in goal kicker in this Queensland side, Wally Lewis. Lewis from Lewis from 3 yards in from the sideline, a yard out in the corner. Struck it well, but it's curled away to the right. So Queensland, after 26 minutes, lead by 5 points to 0. Telecast brought to you by Mazda and your local Mazda dealer. Telecast of the second in the Winfield Interstate Match of Origin Series. Morris. Price with a looping left arm swing that didn't land. McCabe on the surge. Could be a change of possession there. Well, the referee says 6 to go. Morris. Dowling at dummy half. Murray. Lewis. Miles, the try scorer. He's made a nice break again. It's only a despairing dive there that put him away from Muggleton. Queensland moving it well. Paul Khan pops a pass over the top to Rebo. Breaks one tackle. 2. Price has got him by the jumper and pulls him back. He must have a grip like iron, Ray Price. Well, he copped a kick in the head, but that was a magic tackle. Lewis, Khan, Miles, as Queensland come at New South Wales. The last tackle coming up. Dowling elects the blind side. McCabe. And that's the 6. Very spirited passage of play by this Queensland side that's playing infinitely better than their counterparts last Tuesday.
And Gene Miles only playing his second game for his state, having a big game, and a lot of Sydney club secondaries up here tonight, and they're looking very closely at him. Already last season, St George and Western Suburbs approached him, and the year before it was South Sydney, so he's well known to Sydney secretaries.
Well, that's got to be a penalty because Murray went into the scrum after the ball. Despite the boos of the crowd, the referee was quite right. Actually, the New South Wales forwards were very amiss there. The ball was under the second row's feet, New South Wales side, and they allowed themselves to be pushed off it. But the crowd have started their salubrious chant of, well, I can't say it. Well, I can, but I won't be on television tomorrow. Now, crisscross. Mortimer. Way! There's a bit of body contact, and Queensland come up with the ball. Knocked back. He says there's Dowling fell on it. Bit of a kicking match going on over here. Muggleton. And McCabe having a set to behind the play. Little bit of stick going in here between these 2 second rowers. The referee not interested in watching that. He's going to let on with the play. Thompson. Out to Rogers, down to Izzard. Izzard busts the tackle, he's through. He's up to the corner. He's sprinting like a champion. He's going, he's there. It's a try. Referee looking at the touch charge. It's a try. A brilliant solo effort by Brad Izzard. While the spiff was going on one side of the field, New South Wales moved it the other way. Izzard evaded the tackle there of Graham Quinn. And look at the youngster go. 7 first-grade games behind him. And the solid power of him took Scott over the line, and no doubt he was going to score it. Head on. Touch judge well in attendance there. He does seem to finish over the touch-in goal line. Beautiful pass from Rogers. Now Izzard, there's Graham Quinn, no mean defender. Pushed him out of the way. What a debut for this lad. The excitement of it for him. And now comes the last tackle. Watch him steel himself to take it. And dives full length, and it's a try. Well, we've had everything in the last 2 minutes. An all-in brawl between McCabe and Muggleton going on between us, although I must say McCabe didn't look to me as though he was doing a whole lot in it. He was more or less holding Muggleton away. But Izzard, what a try for the youngster.
Yes, and the referee has just spoken to both Muggleton and McCabe, and he's let it slip. It's quite funny when Izzard was making that break, because the linesman on this side with the red flag, Mr. Manson, was in the middle of the field to report that incident. He had to run back and get through the Queensland defence and get on the sideline to follow the play up towards the corner.
Well, he did very well, because he judged on touch and goal there, and that, and I believe he was right from a head-on shot, and that's a pretty good decision. So full marks to the official on that occasion. Well, Melrose from just inside the quarter. And he's left his South Sydney form at home. That was away to the left, away away. So the score remains Queensland 5, New South Wales 3. And we've had 32 minutes unofficial time. Now, Wally Lewis. Let's have a look at that statistical situation again to update you. Queensland 3, New South Wales 2 in the scrums. The penalties 7-2 Queensland. Well, that's no way. Rampling comes too close to the ruck and comes too soon. He's been picked off twice, only a metre from the dummy half. That's just not good enough.
Yes, with Rod Morris in the side too, the defence is much tighter around the ruck tonight than last week.
Well, Rampling's got to learn to time his run into the ruck. There's a nice one into Niscott from Craig Young. He's not got as involved tonight, Niscott. Kulich, Brentnall. That looks a good kick. It's a great kick. That takes play to within about a yard or two of, according to the touch judge, a yard or 5 of the Queensland quarter line. We're doing our usual award in this match. The player we judge to be the best will be called the King G Footballer of the Week. He'll receive $400 and appear on Sports World. Those weekly award winners will all be judged by the Controversy Corner panel at the end of the year. And the man who wins the supreme accolade of the Mazda Footballer of the Year, what a prize. A Mazda RX-7 valued at $17,524. Try of the match, man responsible for that, $150. And for the Mazda Try of the Year, the man most responsible for that great try that have to be to beat some of the ones we've got in already. A magnificent Mazda 626 sedan, valued at $9,564. Well, good quick hands from Lewis out to Revo. He evades one tackle. And Carr does his best to keep him in the field. According to the electronic timer, there are 6 minutes and 10, 9, 8, 7 seconds to go to half-time. 5-3 is the score. It's Queensland's way. We'll have that again, says referee Gomersall. It's a Queensland ball. Murray dropped it. It's a bad miss. The Queensland pack not particularly settled. Got to keep the weight on. It's a penalty for New South Wales, pushing over the mark. Skrillex has a word, but that was the ruling. Ron Hancock on the blind side. Doesn't get quite involved enough. Hancock, stocky, strong runner. Should be a little bit more involved. Lewis, run around of Miles.
He's a strong centre, this Miles. He's only 22 years of age, but 15 stone.
He got a bit of pace too. Oh, that pass has been intercepted, and as well it was. Khan was through the gap. Muggleton was the man that did it. Quillich, Mortimer, Craig Young. Taken head on by McCabe and Dowling. Quillich, Mortimer, Rampling, running into a wall of defenders. Thompson cuts out a man to Izzard. Goes over the Miles tackle. Mortimer, long pass to Bretnell. Long one out to Melrose. Steps back on the inside. Mortimer. Craig Young. Lovely pass out to Bretnell. Takes the tackle. Back on the inside. Lost. Coveney couldn't handle it. And Queensland come up with it. About 3.5 minutes to go to half-time. 5-3. Queensland lead. 1 try and a goal to a try. Ball been dropped behind. Scott has it for Queensland. Managed to get away to Rebo, who's appearing everywhere. He's over on the right-hand side of the field now. There's the error situation. It's 6-4. Queensland 6, New South Wales 4. One-handed pass away to Graham Quinn. Magically to Dowling. He's belted down on top of a fallen New South Welshman. It's a little bit like Balaclava there. Murray. Paul Kahn held his pass up well. That one away to Miles, and he's hurdled a play. He didn't do hurdling at school, did he, Barry Ross?
He's done just about everything else tonight, Rex, and a very promising game for Queensland.
Murray. Bretnell, no pressure. Took that beautifully. He's had a knock on the head. Gets slowly to his feet. The crowd considering that he was shamming. Paul Kahn and Ziggy Niscott having a little set too, but the penalty against Queensland inside the 5.
And Bretnell gave Wally Lewis a little bit of a thank you after that play the ball.
Looking for our corrugated paper tackle of the week in this match too, along with all the other games. Some marvellous examples of superb defence we've had so far this year. There's a complicated move with Craig Young eventually getting it up the middle. Switch across, players running in 2 or 3 directions. Quillich, Mortimer, Muggleton too shallow. Needs to stand deeper, as does Rampling. Quillich. Little sprint of about 8 yards. Loses the ball. Well, it's been stolen by a Queenslander. The referees ruled 6 to go, even though it went forward. Thompson. Nice pass out to Rogers. Izzard. Loses the ball. It's on the ground. Picked up. 6 to go. Rampling. Melrose. And New South Wales line very deeply. Out it goes. Thompson, Ray Price. Hits straight away. No way to go ahead. Quillich. Mortimer. Izzard. Intercepted. Been kicked through. It'll be a knock on both ways. With about 45 seconds to go to half time. Probably the last scrum of this half. Queensland 5, New South Wales 3. 1 try each. Penalty. New South Wales against Murray. Differential. Only 13 seconds to go. They're not going to get the benefit of more than... Oh, look at the kick. That's a pity for New South Wales' point of view because the time is virtually up. The hooter, they have to take it, but they've only got one use of it. Well, now, what have we got? A Jack Gibson ploy. Rogers calling for the mound. Mortimer will, I think they've probably seen this on Sevens Big League. That's a non-event. It went nowhere. There was no pressure for anybody. So the score at half-time, Queensland 5, New South Wales 3. For the New South Wales team, the sole try was scored by Brad Izzard, a beautiful solo effort. And for the Queensland side, an equally good try to Gene Miles. There's been one goal, a penalty to Colin Scott. The scrum situation is 5-2 in favour of the Queensland side. Yeah. A sense of urgency now on the New South Wales side as they face this deficit. And the kick-off with New South Wales receiving the ball and forced over the sideline. And that's Tony Rampling. That's a little bit of a blunder. That sideline should be treated as a precipice. 10 yards out. New South Wales ball. Mortimer. Thompson tries to take Lewis on. Mortimer. Price. Rogers. He's a strong man, you know, despite the fact he's a three-quarter, he's enormously strong. Kulich. Rampling. Still in the area about 12 metres out from their quarter line. Thompson. Oh dear, Izzard ducked under that one. It was meant for him. And Melrose over the sideline. So New South Wales not starting auspiciously in the second half. Got to keep the ball for lengthy periods.
Exactly what Frank Stanton said at half-time. They're not getting...
You had a trip into both the dressing rooms?
Yes, I spoke to both coaches, and Frank Stanton's pointed out that they're not getting much of the ball from set play. The penalties are going against them, and he wants his defence to spread a little wider, to retain possession at all costs, and show a bit more aggression. Arthur Beetson, he was very, very happy with his forwards' display that half, and he's going to continue keeping the ball around the centre of the ruck and so on, and of course play the game in the New South Wales half if possible.
Well, they've started out well enough because New South Wales have made a couple of errors in this opening 2 or 3 minutes. 2 minutes. Now Rebo.
Yes, it wouldn't surprise either, Rex, to see Vaughton on at some stage, probably early in this second half for Morris.
Well, Morris has maybe given instructions to get himself very involved early and play himself out, so to speak.
Yes, that's right. Well, of course, he made a late start to this season and probably not as fit as he would like to be, and Beetson realises that, and so Vaughton is on standby.
Dowling. Murray. Oh, only caught by the collar. It's about 5 yards out from New South Wales line. 5-3 the score. Rowan Hancock. A charge, but he's belted back. Kulich hanging around his legs. Dowling. Long pass from Carr to Rebo. Rebo's in the corner. That's a great try. What a pass from Carr. That pass from Carr was 18 yards. And as you can see, Queensland lead 8 points to 3. See it again, and particularly note the long pass from Paul Carr. This one. Dropped it into Rebo's arm like a gold nugget. And he's gone past 2 of them. and see it head on. Right, we've missed our head-on shot, but
Wally Lewis again, the kicker for Queensland.
Lewis from a yard outside the quarter and about 5 yards in from the sideline. We'll have a look at that head-on after the kick. The kick is away to the left, hooked it slightly, and the score remains 8-3 Queensland's way. The head-on shot of that try. There's the Paul Kahn pass, cutting out a man. Now watch Rebo come inside Melrose, who does the splits. Now Rampling's there, and he wrong-foots Rampling completely. That's a good try by Rebo. Well, Paul Kahn has been involved in both the tries scored by the Queensland side. A point I believe the Australian selectors won't have missed.
Yes, exactly. We were talking about that last week, what a clever player he can be. And, of course, he didn't show too much last week, but he's showing the sort of form that we know that he can play and that Cronulla are missing so much.
Rowan Hancock stands, gives it. Dowling. Lewis unloads nicely. It's gone to ground. Oh! Ray Price tried to half volley it. Picks it up. And, of course, it was a knock-on. The crowd roaring. I think Price knew it was a knock-on too, but he's a good footballer and he plays to the whistle. He tried to half-volley that, couldn't scoop it up. Important scrum now for New South Wales. They've got to get back into this game. And to do that, they must do it fairly soon. Not packing square on, Queensland. And it's a differential penalty to New South Wales. That statistical thing on the penalties is 9-5 in Queensland's favour. The scrums are 5-3 their way. Now, can they keep the ball for 6 tackles is the big question. Pillage. Craig Young. Well tackled, right round the legs. Coveney on the charge. That's about 8 yards out. Mortimer standing wide. Goes the blind side. Thompson. Oi! He did marvellously well to hold that. It bumbled in the air. He caught it again and took the tackle. Mortimer. Muggleton driven to the ground. A swarming Queensland defence. Pillage. Little dummy. And that's the last. They've done precious little with it. Penalty. Get off him, says the referee. And they'll take the kick for sure. Well, let's see what the penalty was given for. Has to be a kick at goal. Melrose will take it. And this is the incident. Are we going to see that? And here it is again. Pillage going from the head-on shot. You can see into the tackle of 2 players. Morris was one. And Morris failed to get off him, and that's the reason. Melrose from a very simple position, 12 yards out. About 5 yards off centre. Struck that well. The scoreline diminished. Queensland 8. New South Wales 5. We've had 8 minutes of the second half. Brentlaw. Quilich, dummy half. Price loses the ball. Queensland have it through Lewis. Away to Miles. Lobs a pass there out to Backer. Backer, that ball was touched in flight. The referee signifies 6 to go. Dowling, Murray, and Rowan Hancock was coming on the burst. Morris. Khan, unable to slip the ball that time. On the quarter line. Carr. Dowling. Holds up his pass. Graham Quinn. Morris. Dowling a dummy half as the crowd yelled for a bomb. Lewis kicking backwards. That's gone over the, in the end goal, caught and taken over the dead ball line. When I said Lewis kicked backwards, I meant he kicked back towards the direction he was facing. That was towards the blind side of the ruck. What they call in rugby union, kicking back into the box. Scott having to go back and retrieve that. Rampling's tackle, a good one. McCabe. Rogers the tackler. Dowling and Rogers the tackler again. Back into McCabe. And a good surge to the quarter line. Big fella much more involved tonight than he was in the first one. Lewis. There's Gene Miles. He's running well. He's heavily tackled. Queensland moving the ball around pretty well. Murray tackled on the last. Lewis has drifted over to the blind side. It'll grab a kick, ricochets. That won't be 6 to go. That's the 6. And the crowd roar, but they don't know the rules. The ball has to be intentionally touched by the opposition for the tackle count to restart. And that's going to be put in again. Penalty to Queensland against New South Wales for going down before the referee told them. That's his ruling.
Half-time, Rex, I had a quick word with John Dowling and he just commented to me, he said the scrums are pretty different tonight, aren't they? They certainly are.
Yes, indeed. Morris driven sideways in that tackle, but he's still powering forward. Finishes up about 6 yards away. Dowling from dummy half. Muggleton catches him on the fly, mid-air. Driven backwards. Pass to Khan. He's heavily tackled. It's quick play the ball. Out to the left it goes Murray. Lewis switches it back on the inside. Going strongly. There's Miles. Morris dropped a pass over the top there. And Queensland going perilously close to scoring. On the blind side it goes. Dowling puts his head down and charges, and that's the 6. Well, you take your hat off to both sides there. Queensland for a good, solid charging at the line, and New South Wales for excellent defence. New South Wales have won the only scrum that's been successfully put out in this half. There's another penalty to Queensland. Well, he's suggesting that they're not packing square on, but they're packing at an angle. And the penalty tally grows as Lewis kicks for touch. Why he wouldn't take the tap quickly there, I don't know. No need to kick for touch. Rebo. Lewis. Murray. And there's the man, Gene Miles. 15 yards out from New South Wales line. Dowling, Murray, Khan, McCabe. Dowling, Murray, Lewis, Miles. Oh, and a top tackle there by Mortimer. Stopped the dangerous movement with Scott coming in on the burst to penetrate. Miles again proving a thorn. There's Rebo. Oh, he's a powerful man. And they're 5 yards out again. Lewis cuts out a man, gets it to Murray. The little kick through, that's just giving it back to him. Izzard says thanks very much and falls on it about a yard out. It was a terrible kick. Rampling. Izzard. Coveney and Pillage having a chat about who'll be dummy half. Coveney. 3 yards from the quarter line. Pillage. Mortimer. That should be a penalty. Mortimer got a serve there.
Yes, Paul Kahn was the player involved from Queensland. There was no doubt the penalty was on.
See it again. Crowd setting up their chant, but that was little doubt about it. Now watch Steve Mortimer. Little chip over the top. Paul Kahn deliberately interfered with him on the way through. No great damage done, but it was a professional foul. The kick from Brentnell was only a marginal gain, not one of his best. Rampling. Miles of energy, miles of enthusiasm. Rampling still not fitting in an attacking way, and he's lost the ball. And I think he's come up against an old nut there in Rod Morris, who dispossessed him of the ball very nicely without the referee being aware of it.
Yes, that's been on all night with both Kahn and Morris, and as you say, that's the experience, and these young guys have just got to cope with that.
Well, New South Wales have done very well there. They've lost the ball and won it. There's an overlap here. If Thompson could unload, he couldn't. Gets up and plays it forward. Brentnell. Oh, that's going to be difficult. Brentnell's pass out there to Niscott was a horror, right at his boots. And panic. Sheer panic taking place on the New South Wales team with 15 and a half minutes gone. Another scrum win to the New South Welshmen, but their back standing so flat they had no opportunity. Pillage has won the only 3 decided scrums in the opening 15 minutes of this second half. Price. Niscott. Belted down. Price. About 5 yards from halfway. It's been all Queensland. Territorially. Mortimer. Izzard. Who's striven hard and not had a lot of help. And there's another penalty. Holding onto the jumper against Dowling. Failing to let him play the ball. Barry Brentnell's line kicking has not been anywhere near up to his usual standard tonight.
No, I was thinking that too. There was one kick that wasn't bad earlier on. He's certainly getting the distance with the kicks, but in actual kicking distance, but not gaining ground. He's not finding the line with the bigger distance he normally does in Sydney. It may be the wet ball not coming off his boot correctly.
Thompson. Brentnell. Way up and down. Miles the tackler. Coveney. Well, they've got to start rethinking their attack, New South Wales. They're not making any impression on Queensland at the moment. They're getting enough possession in the second half to vary their tactics a little bit. I think they've got to do some kicking. Pillage, easy mark for his teammate Paul McCabe. Craig Young left it behind. Straight change of possession. Dowling. Nice pass out to Kahn. Scott comes chiming into the three-quarter line. Telecast brought to you by Mazda and your local Mazda dealer. Don't forget the world title fight on Channel 7 around the 7 network around Australia by satellite live from Las Vegas, Nevada. The world title fight between the world champion Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney, the Great White Hope. And a replay on Channel 7 for Sydney viewers on Saturday night at 10:25 p.m. World title heavyweight fight, Larry Holmes and Jerry Cooney. Penalty, New South Wales. Moving off the mark. Let's have a look at the statistical situation. It's evened up fairly much. The scrums are now at 5-all. The penalties are Queensland 10, New South Wales 9. And the overall score is 8-5 to Queensland. And we have had 20 minutes and 45 seconds of play.
And right beside me, New South Wales coach Frank Stanton has told Parramatta player Brett Kenny to warm up.
There's another change of possession as Rampling comes on the burst, and I think for about the third time has lost the ball. Can't afford to lose the ball in the opponent's quarter. There's the error situation. It is New South Wales 11, Queensland 7. As Wally Lewis comes away with a sprint. Penalty, Queensland. Failing to allow the tackle player to get to his feet. Lewis's kick from the middle of the field is not a great ground gainer, but it gets them about a 15-yard gain. Rebound. Murray. Ball down. New South Wales in possession. And there's a penalty there against Dowling for holding Price and failing to allow him to play it. They're not sustaining any pressure at all, New South Wales. Don't forget our 7 big league telecast on Sunday is the Norths and Manly game. That's from Norths in the Oval. And on Monday, the holiday, we're doing Canterbury and Saints. Big weekend's rugby league. Up to the quarter. Grillage, Mortimer holds it nicely to Izzard. Breaks one, tackle two. That's a good weaving run from Izzard. Morris holds him down. Thompson in behind the defence. They need the old head Steve Rogers and Mortimer to pull something out of the bag here. Muggleton unable to make any impression there. Mortimer, up goes the bomb. Coming through, I think New South Wales, Brentnell was offside. But Scott comes up with it. Backer's moved in, the right winger, and now Murray takes over. And New South Wales are about containing this Queensland side, but Lewis's kick gets the play well upfield, lets it hit him on the leg. Does Brentnell? No knock on. Brentnell. Steve Rogers has drifted in close to the ruck there. Not involved in the play at the moment. But he's one of the players that I feel should be calling for the ball out wide. Craig Young. Grillage. Price on his hands and knees. Rowan Hancock had a handful of boot. Grillage. Steve Mortimer Elects to run. Oh, he's nearly through. Got it away to Krilic. Krilic unloads to Thompson. Thompson's pass is knocked down. Picked up by Coveney at 6 to go. Oh, he's saying it came off the leg. Thompson. Bradnall. Niscott beats 2. Gets a pass back inside to Izzard. No, not Izzard. Back inside to Bradnall. Well, that's one of the brightest passages of play New South Wales has put together.
Yes, and they've been able to hold the ball, and that's why they've been able to put that pressure on Queensland.
155 from 273 is Max Krilic's scrum success for a percentage of 56.8. Pretty useful. Lewis. Carr. Rebo! In the clear and flying. But unseated about 10 yards from halfway. That's a good tackle from Rogers. Scott. Through the meat of the New South Wales ruck there. Well, what about that for a play the ball? Face the sideline. Graham Quint unloads it to Backer and he puts it down. The pass was not a good one. Down round the knees and a golden opportunity gone begging. New South Wales scrum. Thompson, Mortimer loses the ball in the first tackle. Queensland come up with it. This is a very mistake-prone New South Wales side at the moment. Scott. Dowling. Rowan Hancock. Listen to this crowd. Morris. Loses the ball. Still on the ground. And knock-ons both ways, says referee Barry Gomersall. It's almost a sound, an animal-like sound. The quality of the roar that goes up here. The referee Gomersall has had, to my mind, the most atrocious scrums I've seen this season in any grade of football. Hancock on the boil. 15 yards out. Morris. They must be feeling the pinch now at 26 minutes into the second half. 8-5, Queensland lead. Paul Kahn, who's injected a note of subtlety and cleverness into the Queensland forward play today. Lewis. Three defenders there. Dowling. Morris. On the swivel. About 2 metres out. There'll be an unholy roar if they go in again. Lewis. Murray. Back on the inside to Scott. Intercepted by Krilic. Comes under a head high. Weaves, comes back. And New South Wales temporarily off the hook. But how long can they keep the ball? Mortimer. Rogers. Weaving. I'm disappointed with Rogers' performance tonight. He's not been in a position to look for possession. Been in and around the ruck area on a couple of occasions where I would have thought he would have been more advantageously positioned out wide, as he is at the moment, directly behind the ruck.
He's got a leg problem at the moment. I think some sort
well,
of
he should come off the field. Ray Price. Now he's got the ball. He's running well. Back on the inside to Mortimer. Mortimer beautifully there. Back to Niscott. Niscott running into a wall of defenders. Last tackle coming up. Can New South Wales do something with it? It's a penalty. Let him up, says referee Gomersall to Murray, the halfback. He must be allowed to play the ball. We still have 11 and a half minutes to go in this match. And Melrose will take the kick and goal.
And as Melrose lines the kick up, trainer Ralph Richards going out to Steve Rogers.
Well, that was vintage Rogers. The last passage of play. Skirting wide, looking for possession out wide. Being in a position to get the ball and use his skills. He's of no use to New South Wales or Cronulla around the forward area.
Mitch Brennan running down from the grandstand where Arthur Beetson is sitting. He's just come to tell Paul Vaughton to get ready to go on.
Right, we'll see the red-headed Vaughton be brought in as a tackling machine, because if this goes over, it's going to be 8-7 and a pretty explosive last 10 and a half minutes.
And Paul Kahn will be the Queenslander to come off, Vaughton on.
Well, I'm surprised at that. If Kahn is to come off, I would have thought he's been their best forward. Melrose. Straight over. So, with 10 minutes exactly to go, we've got a scoreline that reads Queensland 8, New South Wales 7. Stops him with his foot.
And New South Wales also about to make a change. Brett Kenny, wearing number 15, is on the sideline with a touch judge, and Steve Rogers, because of cramps, will be coming off.
Ray Price, right in the middle of the ruck. Ray Price looking for support, unloaded. No, he didn't. He was taken with the ball, and Thompson was on the fly on the outside. Pillage, Mortimer, Muggleton breaks the tackle, but still should have looked for support. Now it's Izzard. And he knocked it on. Oh dear. Now Brett Kenny on. And Steve Rogers trots off. Kenny playing at number 15. Penalty Queensland. Mortimer being called back. Differential penalty. 8 minutes, 18 seconds to go. 8-7, Queensland lead. Pressure for New South Wales now. Dowling. Morris. Still surging forward. 11 yards out now from New South Wales line. There's Vaughton, the replacement on. Paul Kahn having been taken from the field. Dowling. Murray wrapped up. Scott from fullback. And that's a real bulldogging type of tackle from Ray Price. Morris. They're going one out at the moment, Queensland. Look for the bomb. Lewis. There's pressure. Brentnell takes it beautifully and gets into the field of play. Well, there was a moment he was in the field of play and pulled back. I wonder whether that could have called for a penalty. Let's see it again. Here's the bomb. The Brentnell take. He gets into the field of play, does he? there, and now he's lifted bodily and pulled back. That was a penalty for mine. Queensland in possession at the moment. From the restart from the quarter, from the goal line. Scott, Lewis, McCabe standing wide. Been a more effective McCabe tonight than in the previous match. Morris had a strong game. Old head for a hard road. Paul Borden.
I wonder if Wally Lewis is thinking of a field goal.
Could well do. He's thinking of a bomb at the moment because up she goes. And Britnell times his jump. Doesn't get the ball. It's offside, I would have thought. The referees allowed New South Wales to get away with that. That was Niscott who came up with it. Kenny now out to Hazard. He's handed off his man. Comes back in field. That was good work by the young man. Clever stuff. Good, strong fend. But then away from that sideline. Well, they've got to do it constructively. It's no good dying with the ball now. It's Sydney or the bush. Pillage, Mortimer, Thompson, Kenny. Flick, Kenny, Thompson. Nicely out to Niscott. Through Muggleton. Belted to the ground there. Swinging arm tackle from Rowan Hancock. Thompson. Bretnell. Back to Thompson. And up the middle he goes. And that's the six. With time running fair and square out. 4 minutes, 52 seconds, 51. And we've got a replacement.
Yes, it's number 15 for Queensland, Greg Holborn. And I think it's Graham Quinn coming off. And I feel that he's sustained a rib injury of sorts. He went down with that last attempt to take the bomb and stayed on the ground for some time and got up holding his ribs. And Arthur Beetson sent Mitch Brennan straight down to say, come off.
Holborn on, Quinn off for Queensland. New South Wales ball. Oh, Thompson really given a workout in that tackle by Lewis. Mortimer, Price, Bretnell, Rampling on the halfway line. Time running away, 4 minutes, 17 seconds. Mortimer, Craig Young on the halfway. Quick play, the ball's called for. Thompson, Krilich. 4 minutes exactly to go. 8 points to 7. Queensland lead. Price's kick. Stands up at an end. Rebo takes it. Price takes Rebo. Bit slow to his feet, that one. And with the kickings to go at this stage, they've got to keep that ball alive, New South Wales. Rebo. 3.5 minutes to go. Queensland desperately clinging to this 1 point lead. Craig Young, I think, being spoken to for use of the feet.
Yes, that was a six.
Queensland will come up with a bit of a ground gain here. Up towards their quarter, New South Wales end. And already under 3 minutes. Try scorers for Queensland have been Rebo and Gene Miles, and a goal to Colin Scott. 1 from 3 for the New South Wales team. Brad Izzard, a fine solo try, and 2 goals from 3 attempts to Tony Melrose. Queensland have closed it up, and why would you blame them? 2 minutes 28, 27, 26. Dowling milking it for a few extra seconds there. Rebo trying to come off foot. On the blind side they go again. And that's the last tackle. Now despair. New South Wales must run it from wherever. There's a bomb. It's well directed. It's high. Right on the line. Oh, Bretnell flew. Magnificent take. Most of the crowd are applauding the tackle. I'm applauding the take. Magnificent. 1 minute 44. Something dramatic needs to be done. He's kicked for possession. And Morris, who's just been awarded the man of the match by the press riders, has had a top game, as you've heard me comment on several occasions. Lewis in a wrestling hold there. Muggleton desperately trying to screw his head from his shoulders. McCabe. 1 minute 12, 11, 10, 9. As Queensland move it again. Dowling on the charge for the line. The crowd chanting now. Looks all up. The Queensland win. It'll need an intercept. Morris going to pass away. Who's got it? Fumbles. Rowan Hancock to his feet. He's got it away to Morton. Morton's in. And that's the kicker. Morton in. Beside the post. And the scoreboard's going berserk. Queensland 11. New South Wales 7. Have a look at that scoreboard. There was a bit of messy play. There's the scoreboard. Really, it was flashing on and off. McCabe lost the ball backwards. Rowan Hancock has it, gets to his feet, and loads it to the redhead, the fresh player. Despite the Ramplings tackle, he was able to get the full stretch. Yeah, it was Rod Morris, the initial surge, to Dowling. Initially to McCabe, dropped it behind him. Rowan Hancock to his feet, gave it to Vaughton, and Vaughton threw the tackle and in for the try. And the crowd come on the field here, and we've got a scoreline. I don't know whether that goal was kicked.
Yes, it was.
So he missed the goal. So Queensland have come up with a dramatic win, 11 points to 7. And I'll be back in just a moment with the statistics of the match and our award winner from this taut and hard game of rugby league.